Hello value investors, thank you for joining me. My name is Michael from Deep Value Returns on Seeking Alpha. Today I want to talk about Snapchat and why Snapchat is actually more attractively priced at 18 times forward sales than you may think. So we're going to talk about its growth rates, then we're going to talk about what I think is really the underappreciated crown jewel, which is its profitability, and then we're going to talk about its valuation. So let's just get stuck in here. So one of the things I wanted to highlight is you can, I don't know if you can kind of stop the video, but you can see here, these are just a bunch of advertising stocks. I've got here the Traders, Roku, Magnite, Twitter, Digital Turbine. So the whole group, as you know, they're all posting in the last 6 months negative share price appreciation, with the exception of Snap. So Snap is the only one that's posting double digits growth price appreciation in the last 6 months. And what's striking here is that if you go through and you spend some time thinking about all these underlying companies, they're all posting really strong performances. So the market has just got completely disenchanted with this sector, and I don't believe that it's entirely justified. I probably have some bias here because I own some of these names, but you know, it's just interesting to me, this dynamic. You could lay the case that it's perhaps because this group of stocks came out of COVID and had very strong performance and people are kind of unwinding that COVID trade. That could be one hypothesis. I don't know if you want to kind of let me know of other ideas that you may have, but I just thought I'd highlight that. So here's the thing, right? So in the past quarter, Q2 was supposed to always come out strong. You know, you looked at Twitter, you looked at Pinterest, and all these companies put out strong performance because you have the easy comp with the previous year. But Snapchat is the only company that put out triple-digit growth rates. So yes, okay, it is an expensive stock, but yes, it is growing at a really rapid rate. And you know, they've always shown themselves to be quite conservative, their guidance, but even then, the guidance for next year, for next quarter, is already looking at plus 60% year-over-year growth rate. So yeah, you know, it's a company that's growing at a really rapid rate, and I just want to kind of put that out there and see what you think. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is that for advertisers, it really resonates with them. First, you got a very hard to reach demographic of 13 to 34-year-olds. It's difficult to keep them engaged. Snapchat does an amazing job right there. And there's also evidence to show that Gen Z has actually some influence on the purse of the household. So this is more so the case right now than in previous generations. So it's the ability to reach a demographic that actually has more spending power than certain people, certain investors actually believe. What Snapchat has done quite well is the same thing as what Apple's doing, is really doubling down in AR. So AR, in the case of Snapchat, is really about getting up close and personal with brands. So brands can really reach certain key targeted parts of the demographic and influence them. So it's something that's very, very powerful, and you can see this in other social media platforms. Being able to get up close and personal and resonate with your community is really, really important. So Snapchat highlights that nearly 200 million snappers are using AR on a daily basis. This is very strong numbers. The one thing that I wanted to highlight right here that I alluded to at the start of the video is that Snap's path to profitability is very, very strong. So I put some numbers here. So you can see that in the graph here, for Q2, they put out 12% EBITDA margins, and they're guiding for Q3 to be at approximately 13%. Now remember, Q4 is always a very strong period for Snap. So overall for this year, I suspect that we're coming into at least 11% EBITDA margins, okay? If you remember that last year, in 2020, it was the first year that the kind of Snap finished profitable, and it was just below, just a tiny bit below 2% EBITDA margins. So if this year comes to 11, so you can see that operating leverage happening right now, it's not inconceivable that in 2022 it's going to have 15% EBITDA margins. So I just kind of wanted to highlight something. Yeah, it is priced at 18 times forward sales, and I'm a value investor. I'm not really like, you know, I don't particularly like to buy these kind of valuations, but for example, I own Twitter. It's not investment advice, but I'm just saying I own Twitter, and Twitter trades at 8 times next year's revenue. So Twitter is meaningfully cheaper than Snapchat, but I can still say, okay, yeah, Snap is much more expensive, but I think there are reasons for it to be more expensive. I'll give you another comparison right here. So in Q2 21, so this is Q2 2020, sorry, last year, YouTube actually put out 3.8 billion in revenues, okay, 3.8 billions. And I think that at the path that Snap is compounding at, I believe that in 4 years, Snapchat is also going to be at approximately in that 3.5 billion marker. But in the case of Snapchat, it's really already profitable. And there are widely circulating rumors that YouTube isn't really that profitable yet. It has possibly turned, there's some speculation it's turned profitable, but it's not that profitable. So imagine just how much YouTube has had to grow to start to be profitable, and right now Snapchat is already quite profitable. You could counter that and say, yes, okay, but if I compare that with Pinterest or Twitter, those platforms are much more profitable. Yes, they are much more profitable, I'll give you that, but they're not growing quite at the rate. And in this market right now, investors are really just craving for that strong, consistent revenue growth rates, and they're willing to pay up for it. So with that in mind, hope you found this video useful. Don't forget to check out my marketplace. It's called Deep Value Returns. You're welcome to do a totally free trial to see if it suits you. Check out the reviews, do your due diligence, find out if the platform is for you. Come in, get involved. You can unsubscribe anytime before the 14 days. You're not going to get charged anything at all. And what's more, you can basically I'm not going to be replacing you as an investor. It's really a place that you can kind of pick and choose a couple of great investment picks, actionable, and see if it resonates with you. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.